You're here for only 3 concerts. Germany, that's the last one. Why don't you come over here more often?
Well, I just go where my managers tell me to go. I really don't have much say. I mean, I do have say if I wanted it, but I don't take that opportunity to exercise my power. I just go where I'm told, and Germany. That's one of the places we play more than we play other places. But didn't we just played some gigs in Germany a few months ago? So you can't say it's only 3. We also played Berlin and a couple other places just a few months ago. So like 3 months ago. So yeah. So we love Germany. I especially love Germany.
What's the thing where you use your power? If you say touring is not?
I'm just saying that's a power that I could have, but I don't use. But obviously, but not a subject I want to discuss.
On the new album, you wrote a lot of more tunes. I read. Why? And why not earlier?
I will say that. Never mind. What?
I read that you wrote a lot of stuff for Stadium Arcadium.
Yeah.
But on the albums before, you didn't do that much.
They've said that to me on every album that I've ever made. When we made Blood Sugar, they said, now you're writing a lot. You didn't write much on Mother's Milk. Then that was the only time it was true. Ever since then, Flea and I write half and half all the music. He writes half, I write half. Sometimes I write a little more, but we don't try to figure out who writes more than the other one because it's pretty much equal, Anthony writes the vocals, but it's fun. It's so fun. You're the first person who said it about Stadium Arcadium because most people know that I have a lot to do with the writing of By the Way, but people said it about Californication that I had written more than on Blood Sugar, and on By the Way that I'd written more than Californication, and it's never true. I've had a lot to do with all the albums since Blood Sugar. I write at least half the music.
So does your sound come through on Stadium Arcadium more, or where do I get the impression from? What do you think?
I think you get the impression from there's a lot of attention drawn to me because I play a lot of guitar solos, and on the other albums I was into doing a more subtle kind of guitar playing, and it was just a stylistic choice, where I liked simple guitar playing, or like on By the Way I liked chords that emphasized a certain type of harmonic structure, and on Stadium I'm into soloing and wah-wah pedals and feedback and distortion, and that people's ear gravitates towards that. So it sounds like it's more me than other albums have been, but it's really more just that in a certain way I'm unleashing more of my energy on this one. Like on the other albums, maybe like I always put a lot of energy into our shows, when we'd be touring for an album, but on albums a lot of the time it was more thoughtful and more trying to come up with an interesting style of music, whereas now it was just like solo, feedback, let the guitar scream and play fast and stuff like that. So that was just like, that was just the style that I happened to think of this time. Who knows what it'll be next time. It doesn't really make any difference to me whether or not I'm drawing attention to myself or not. But that's just the way it worked out,
Okay, you, as a band, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, wrote a lot of songs, 28 tracks on Stadium Arcadium, and on the singles there are several non-album tracks. Where does this power come from after 23 years of being a band to write that much good songs?
Thanks for calling them good songs. They're it's just what we wrote. I definitely, I'm a hard worker, and I think, in the case, I'm always writing more music than the band would, would even have time to do. I mean, I spend all, like when we're making a record, I spend all day playing guitar, and I only bring a small percentage of what I write into the studio. Like if I might come up with 20 ideas one day, but I'll only bring one of them into the studio the next day. I'll just bring whatever's the very best, you know. And on this album, we're getting along really well, and I think, you know, I feel like everybody wanted to work as hard as I was, you know. So like every you know, Anthony, like where on other albums he stopped at a certain point, you know, where he'd write on other albums, like he'd write like about 19-20 vocals for songs and lyrics, you know, and that would be more than enough for an album, and he'd just stop there. On this album, he didn't stop there. He was inspired by the music, so he wanted to write. He wrote 38 complete songs, you know, and sang them all. So I think more than anything it has to do with that, because as a band we can come up with music endlessly, you know. If we get together in a room and jam every day, Flea and Chad and I can come up with as much music as there is days of the week, you know. But we could easily come up with a song a day, you know, indefinitely. But lyrics are a different thing, because lyrics take a lot more thought and a lot more time to do. A song, we can come up with a great part while we're jamming, and then come up with another part to it automatically and go on inspiration, and an hour later have a complete musical song. Whereas lyrics, especially when you're writing a lot of songs, it takes more time and thought and patience, and a lot of the time one song of lyrics is written over a period of months, you know. I'm changing lyrics of songs to mine right now that you know were started 3 years ago, that now as I look to the lyrics, I feel like they need to be a little different. Lyrics are a real, you're a lot more naked with lyrics. You really need to you know, to take your time with them. So it's that's the main reason. I would say Anthony is the main factor in that, because I remember on previous albums him just stopping at a certain point when he'd had enough, when he'd said everything that he had to say. And on this album that never came. He really loved the music and really wanted to write vocals to all 38 tracks that we had all considered to be good, you know.